What's up, people? In this video we are going to watch a video by Natacha Oceane. I don't remember what this is, but somebody asked me to watch it. So what is this? My fitness journey, overcoming eating disorders plus finding happiness. Oh god, I hate this like eating disorder shit. So it's just like, god. So like before I even watch this, I just want to say one thing about this whole like eating disorder shit. It's like I'm like going off like on a rant on this too much, but everybody is like so quick to not only point at themselves and be like, I have an eating disorder, but to like point at other people and be like, oh my god, you had like water with lemon. Oh, you have an eating disorder. You ate breakfast. You have an eating disorder. You had a cheat meal. You have an eating disorder. It's like, just remove that concept from your life like altogether. Like what I would encourage you to do, okay, don't use these like branded terms like eating disorder. Like what does that even mean? Can you hold an eating disorder? Can you like put it in a box? No, you can't. What an eating disorder is a shortened description for lazy people for a certain, like, let's call it set of behaviors or decisions. Okay, bulimia, for example, right? What is that? You take your finger, you stick it down your throat, and you throw up after you eat food. Okay, that is what it is. You're choosing to do that activity based on what I consider to be like fucked up beliefs. I'm not talking about this girl specifically, and I understand like overcoming eating disorders is, it's like a like good SEO term for YouTube, which is probably why she put it in the title. But anyway, all right, it's too early. I'm already like getting worked up. I guess this is a good look. She looks fit. Anyway, oh my god, 25 minutes. All right, here we go.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
God, this could be a long one.
To my channel. Today we're gonna have a little heart to heart. When I'm doing a heart to heart, I feel like I need to be in the right kind of mood. Does that make sense? I don't know, it's kind of weird, but yeah, it's gonna be like a little story time. I kind of wanted to take you guys through my whole like story in terms of like my relationship with food, how it used to be, how it is now, relationship with body image, and then also like all the different kind of like diets and things I went through. Because I suffered from massively restricting my calorie intake, overtraining, over exercising, binge eating, orthorexia, trying 1,000,001 different diets, things like the sugar-free diet, paleo diet.
I'm sorry, I just have to read this. What is this, orthorexia?
Sugar-free diet, paleo diet, intermittent fasting.
Sorry. Orthorexia, a medical condition in which the sufferer avoids specific foods that they believe to be harmful or that they categorize as unhealthy or impure. Oh my god, this is a disorder? This is an eating disorder, avoiding foods that you think are unhealthy? Oh my god. I'm like... Oh, you should be avoiding foods you think are unhealthy. How is that a disorder? I'm like, I don't even, like, I want to express anger, but I have like I have no outlet. Okay, so, oh god, whatever. It's just
orthorexia, trying 1,000,001 different diets, things like the sugar-free diet, paleo diet, intermittent fasting, everything. I tried everything. I was so desperate to where I kind of am now, which is basically how I was when I was a kid. I guess we'll get started. If you guys do like this video, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. If you're not yet part of the family, I'm going to give you a big virtual hug around the camera. Yeah, and please subscribe. I feel like now we've hugged, you are part of the family. So yeah, I guess I'm going to start like right at the beginning, but I'm kind of going to go over that very briefly. One thing I will say is that when I'm recording some of the stories, that's how I felt at the time. At the time, I had a very black and white mindset, very closed mindset. There was only one way to look beautiful, and that was to look like a runway model. So when I'm saying, if I say anything, it's because that's how I felt at the time. Now I feel completely different. I think there's an infinite ways to be beautiful. I've said this before. I think appearance is the least interesting thing about me and about other people too. Looking back at photos, it's crazy to me that I used to think I was overweight, and because I really wasn't, but I just had such a distorted view of myself, and I just couldn't see things for what they were. I'd say I was quite a happy kid. When I was younger, I was very playful. I didn't really care that much about food. I was aware of like the thigh gap from the tender age of 10, which sounds really shocking, but I do remember talking about that with my friends. I didn't really feel like I was kind of controlling that element. I was just aware of it. So I didn't feel the need to like reduce my calories or anything. In fact, I didn't even know what calories calories were at all at this point. I just knew that there was a difference between the way people looked. Yeah, kind of like grew up very like happy around food. My parents were always quite active, so we were always active. I really respect my parents for this because they never gave us stuff just because we asked for stuff. If I went into a shop with them and I said, oh, I really like this, please can you get it for me, they wouldn't just grant it just for the sake of it, or just to, you know, they always said like, if you want to get something, then you need to go out and earn it. So yeah, from like a young age, 14, I started working, and I started working. I was basically washing cars.
Oh my god, this is the wrong video to do like first thing in the morning. So like a few things, I guess. Like I guess this has nothing to do with the video, but I'm just like constantly struck by the fact that like if you're an attractive girl, like your life, not that your life is easy, fine, it's not fair to say, but like if you're an attractive girl, like you have so many options for like making money, like supporting yourself financially. Like you have so many more than men. Oh my god, like this whole thing that it's like a man's world and it's so hard for women to get ahead and women get paid 70 cents on the dollar. Like, do you understand that like if you're like a hot girl like this, and fine, like not every girl's gonna look like this, whatever, but if you're like an attractive girl like this, you can literally like set up a camera and like just talk about like, well, when I was 7 years old, like, you know, I was aware of the thigh gap and like I liked eating food with my family. Anyway, that aside, God, that's the wrong video to do. A lot of this stuff just comes from, like, I can't even get over this, like, orthorexia thing. Like, this is like what I said before about an eating disorder, right? You're classifying like a series of behaviors or decisions that you make as a like medical sounding term, which seems like it adds legitimacy and makes it sound more significant and important, right? So when people like, I see this a lot. My parents live in like not a retirement community, but an area where a lot of people will go to retire. So you have like a very high number of like older people that live there, and you overhear all of these conversations where these people are like, well, I went to the doctor and my doctor said that I have fucking, I don't know, high blood pressure, and I take, you know, beta blockers. And like, it's like they derive so much of their identity from these like medical terms that doctors give them. And my personal opinion that nobody really asked for is that like that's only because these people have absolutely nothing interesting going on in their lives, that they have to like, they're like, well, oh my god, like who am I as a person? I don't do anything all day except like sit around and watch TV, or like in girls like this case probably like, you know, browse Instagram or Snapchat and like gossip with my friends. So like the only thing that people like, the only feedback I have on like who I am as a person comes from like me crying about, you know, feeling bad about eating unhealthy food. Oh no, I ate unhealthy food and I feel bad about eating it. I have an eating disorder. Oh, of course you feel bad about eating unhealthy food. You think that I don't feel bad about eating unhealthy food? Like, you think I eat a cookie and I'm like, haha, I ate a cookie, like, you know, I feel great now. Like, of course, everybody does. But this is like, you need therapy for this? Like, really? Your life is just empty. Oh, okay, we got a lot to go.
And that was kind of all I could do at the time. It felt good because I didn't want to keep asking my parents for money. I wanted to be independent. And then when I was 16, I started lifeguarding. So I wake up at 4, cycle in the pitch black, and then start lifeguarding. And I usually had like a 10 to 7:30 shift on a Saturday. So yeah, I was always working. And because of that, I wasn't as active, and I put on a little bit of fat. Now, I was still very slim, but it was something that I was aware of. And then I saw what I thought was a bad picture of myself on Facebook. I thought I looked big. And I felt slightly embarrassed as well. And kind of at the same time, I went on a cycle ride with my friend, and he said that I was hench. In my mind, hench meant bulky. I think in his mind, he didn't even like clock. I think he just meant like, oh, you're muscular, whatever. But I took it the complete wrong way. For me, that was like from that moment on, I remember being like, okay, I need to sort my life out. I need to get back on track. I've put on too much fat. So yeah, I spent that summer training every other day and restricting my calories. And sure enough, like I lost the fat, I lost some weight, and people noticed. And I went through the 2 years of high school or secondary school, if I'm from the UK, just kind of being very, very obsessed with everything that I ate. I was massively under eating. Honestly, like my portion sizes were tiny. My mum used to say I'm eating like a bird. And I was just very, very obsessed with this one number, which was 51 kilos, because 51 kilos meant that I was underweight in terms of BMI, which is why I never talk about my height and weight, because I never want people to kind of compare themselves to me. I had body dysmorphia. I couldn't see what I actually looked like, so I needed values like that to confirm. And I lost my period as well, and that was also like a reassurance that I was underweight. In terms of how I felt, like I remember being very, very stressed. I remember kind of entering this stage where I just wanted to be a perfectionist at everything. I didn't sleep that much. I think I used to train every single day, and if I didn't go out for a run early enough, then I would do stuff late in my room, in my bedroom. My parents would be like just next door, and I had like ankle weights, and I would literally just do about an hour and a half in my room, really, really quietly, just cardio exercises with my ankle weights. So I was really, really obsessed with training. And the thing that, like, the mentality I had was that when I trained for like an hour and a half, I didn't feel good about it. I just felt like I was normal. But if I hadn't trained, I would feel like a real uncomfortable feeling. I felt like I hated myself, felt like I'd let myself down, I felt disappointed in myself, I felt guilt because I hadn't burnt off the calories that I had eaten. That was kind of the whole cycle that I went through. In hindsight, although I never really admitted this to myself, I was always getting injured. I had terrible shin splints. I just could never recover from that. I always felt kind of like tired, and I was just really kind of grumpy. I was very kind of one-sided. I always had like a very one-sided opinion. Sometimes that opinion was controversial, which is very different to how I am now, because now I'm like so open-minded. Like, I find it hard to form an opinion because I see two sides of the story all the time. But yeah, I was very, very one-sided. I was under-eating, but as a result of under-eating, it meant that I would have like huge binges at home. So usually when my parents would go out and when my mum would go shopping or something, I would literally just go into the cupboard and eat whatever I could find.
Okay, so now that I've like calmed down a little bit, in all of these pictures, I mean, in the one where like her friend said she looks hench, I think that's her best picture. Like, she looks the best in that picture out of all of the other ones that she showed. The other ones, she looks just like a little bit malnourished, in my opinion, like kind of skinny fat. It's not a good look, right? Like, honestly, like, I don't, what is wrong with these girls that they think like the like toothpick look is good? Like, okay, and I realize like this was maybe a couple of years ago, things are different now. Like, all of the, like, it's very popular on Instagram. You see girls who like look, you know, like massive like ass and legs and like, what is it, strong is sexy now. It's like very popular now, thank God. Oh my God, thank God this is like a thing. Like hot muscular girls, like, oh my God, like whoever started this, like, thank you. And okay, so let's just talk about like, what did she say? Like, I used to work out a lot in my room by myself and I felt guilty about it or something. Like, that's not bad. Like, good for you for working out in your room by yourself and like actually caring about what you look like. I think the problem here that it seems to me is that she's under eating, right? And you see this a lot. Like, I guess I watch a lot of these girls who have like an eating disorder, or they claim to like have an eating disorder or something, or they had one or whatever. Like, what's her name? Diana Malloy. Like, I watched her video. Like, so sorry, Diana. I'm like, apologize to this girl too, but you can tell like these girls, they don't like, they're so afraid to eat. They're like scared to eat. It's kind of this weird, like, they're scared to eat. You can like see the fear on their face when they like talk or think about eating. Yet on the other side of things, they put like they put so much thought into what they eat, yet absolutely no thought whatsoever, right? Like Diana Malloy, I'll pick on her a little bit. She puts so much thought into like being vegan and like buying the right potato chip and like, you know, buying the vegan hamburger or whatever. Like, in her mind, she's like, okay, it's all vegan, it's all healthy, right? It's all good. I should get skinnier from eating this so I can eat as much as I want. Yet doesn't actually put any thought into what is actually contained in the food and how that might compare to just actually eating like normal natural foods. And I see, I guess, that pattern a lot with all of these like, you know, eating disorder influencers, I guess, which is that they undereat so much yet still try to train, right? And this is something that happens to guys too, right? Like, I've noticed that, interestingly enough, on days where I train very hard, I'm more restrictive with what I eat, right? Does that mean I have a fucking eating disorder? Like, maybe you think so, but like, I don't think of it like that. I don't think like I'm a victim because I like restrict myself on days where I train. To me, it's like a discipline thing, right? Like, I'm probably going to eat less on days where I train, which is kind of counterintuitive. But on days where I don't train, I'm like, I haven't done shit today. Like, I might as well binge. I might as well fucking eat my Kit Kat bars and like drink my like, you know, Pepsi Max. But yeah, anyway, girls like this, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is under-eating is really the problem here, right? And it's under-eating. And why are they under-eating? They're under-eating because they're not making the right food choices, which is why they feel guilty, right? They're not eating foods that will make them feel good and have more energy and be able to train like they actually should train hard to build what is actually an attractive body, which is a girl who has some sort of muscle mass and definition, which I guess you could say comes from this whole like desire to look like a runway model. Like, you want to look like that. Those girls, like, they look like heroin addicts. Like, that's not... Nobody's like, no guys are like, yeah, like, what guy like lusts after like a runway model? Like, none. Like, we can't even name them. Like, who are they? They look disgusting. I'm not disgusting, right? Like the ones who are like sickly looking and underweight. All right.
didn't have like a huge amount of snacks. So it would be weird stuff like just blocks of cheese or packets of cereals or chocolate or jam I would just spoon out of the jar. Same thing when I went to birthday parties, I would literally rock up, and I kind of built this like image of myself to my friends who just thought I was always like the eater. So their parents would make more food for me and I would feel obliged to eat it. Obviously I felt guilty, but I never let that on to anyone. Yeah, I would just eat everything there. I would like trying to be the life of the party. And then I would also have periods where, yeah, like I would massively undereat. If I went to my friend's house, I would tell them that I'd already eaten at home, even though I hadn't. And to my mum, I would tell them that I was eating at my friend's house, and then run to my friend's house, but take like the long way around. So I was running like 20 kilometers just to get somewhere, and that meant that I was super late. I would rock up to my friend's house like an hour and a half, 2 hours late, just because I felt like I had to exercise. But yeah, I mean, no one really picked up on it, and I guess I just thought it was me being me, or just trying to be the fittest I could be. I do remember feeling like really unhappy. I really didn't like how I looked. I really didn't like anything about me. I was always putting myself down, even after exams that I knew like now looking back, like I knew that I knew the answers to them, but I'd be like, oh no, I did rubbish in that exam. Always kind of setting myself up for the worst to try and prepare myself. That really started to like hammer into my self-confidence, and that just became a habit to always be like, you're shit, like you can't do this. So yeah, that was kind of high school. And then I got into university. I went to work to Dubai. At that time was then left to my own devices, so I could train in the middle of the night whenever I wanted to without worrying about whether my parents were going to come in. So I did that. Obviously when no one is there to kind of observe, I felt like I could just get away with anything. So I would binge, I'd bring stuff to my room, I'd have massive binges. I think I was always basing stuff, because of like how perfectionist I just was basing stuff purely on how good things looked on my CV. So I kept doing extracurricular stuff, I kept trying to take part in academic groups and stuff like that. At the same time I was working, and so I worked as a waitress, and then I became like a spin instructor. So I was like working, also doing my studies, also worrying so much about how I looked, what I was eating, trying to control that whole aspect of my life, and it became really difficult. I met Mario within like 3 months of starting university, and there were nights where I would literally just go to sleep crying, and he would ask me like what's wrong, and I couldn't explain. It was just like I was so disgusted with myself, I hated myself. This was usually after a binge, and I just couldn't deal with like all of that emotion. Kind of why I got into triathlon as well, because I saw that ultra endurance athletes were super thin. I wanted to be super thin, so that's why I started triathlon. And then the Ironman came because I was like, well, that's going to look good on my CV. Not really thinking about like whether I was going to enjoy it or anything. I was just literally like, no, this is going to be on my CV, and it's going to look good. That was obsessed with how good my CV looked. I also started like the sugar-free diet towards the end of being at university, and that didn't help me at all. I mean, I tried so many diets. I tried no carbs, I tried paleo, I tried clean, all of these like detox diets and everything. Nothing worked. I was always right back to like.
Oh god, I'm stopping this way too much. This video's gonna be fucking an hour. So these things are not bad. Like honestly, when I was watching that, she said she went on a vacation and she wore like wrist and ankle weights. That made me think like I watched that and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I kind of want to do that. Like, do you understand how much I walk here in Bangkok? Like sometimes I'll walk like 4 hours. Like I'm just thinking to myself like, oh shit, what if I wore ankle weights and wrist weights? That's fucking amazing. Like I'd be jacked just by doing nothing. The problem here is the undereating, right? So obviously, right? It's not the undereating that's the problem. It's the incorrect food choices, which is leading to the undereating, right? It's this kind of like cycle where she's like, well, I can't eat anything because the foods that I'm eating make me look like shit because I'm choosing the wrong foods. So I have to eat less of these wrong foods, but then I'm just going to eat a ton of the wrong foods when I actually lose a little weight and get kind of skinny. But when I get too skinny, people are going to get suspicious. And I'm just like, my discipline is going to fall apart and I'm just going to eat like shit. Okay. How do you solve this problem? Like teenage girls of, the West, very simple. You eat the right foods. Okay. Why will I not shut up about like eating raw meat? Because when you stuff yourself on raw meat, okay, this is a practical reason. Okay. It's not just cause like, I'm like, like attention and like saying I eat raw meat is like, people respond to that. When you eat raw meat, number one, you don't feel like binging. Okay, first of all, you don't even feel full, all right? You don't have a bloated feeling. That's number one. Number two, when you stuff yourself on raw meat, not only are you full without a bloated feeling, but you have no desire to eat anything else. You don't want to like binge on anything. Number three, like you want to wear your wrist and ankle weights and like whatever, like all that other shit. You want to run 20 kilometers. That's a lot. I don't know if she's really running 20 kilometers to get to her friend's house, because that's like maybe. But like you can absorb that more and you will look better overall as a result of eating your fucking raw meat with like hot sauce or salt or whatever. That's like it's just a good choice overall. Right. And honestly, like I can't pick on people too much, because who does it even occur to eat that? Like who's going to eat raw meat like ever? It's like unclean. Right. But if you were to choose that, like, oh, I just had the best idea. What I should do, I should market like a special diet for these girls who have like an eating disorder and just say it's like raw meat, like the cure for anorexia or something like that. It's brilliant because it would actually work. Like all these girls are so nutrient deprived that like, I mean, she doesn't look bad now. She looks good now, right? Does look like maybe she restricts still a little bit too much. There might still be some of that. Like when I saw her pictures in the thumbnail, I was thinking to myself like, okay, I guess she looks good, but still probably a little underweight. But honestly, like what's very attractive to girls like this in terms of a diet, let's say, is if you were to tell them that you can eat as much as you want of something, right? You tell that to a girl who's fucking got an eating disorder or is anorexic or bulimic or whatever, they will, no pun intended, gobble that shit up in a second, right? Also, another thing, when she was talking about like all of this, like, I was so insecure about my body, I had to run everywhere and like bike everywhere and like do all this shit. When I was like, I don't think all that stuff is bad. The bad part is the under eating, okay? When I was, I don't know, maybe 20 or something, I was living in LA, like I would go to whatever, you go to your friend's house, you go meet people, you go like do something. If I was gonna go like anywhere where like people would see me, it would be like a social situation, I would go like find some like random like bathroom and like some fucking like Blockbuster Video or something, and I would go in there and do like a 20-minute ab workout like on the fucking bathroom floor, like right next to the toilet, because I was so like I had this like idea in my head, like I have to be the guy who has abs, you know, like I have to be like the best looking person there. Is that like a disorder? Like, oh my god, I'm like so obsessed with like looking good that I went and performed a healthy activity for 20 minutes. Oh my god, amazing. Like, oh, so get yourself into therapy ASAP. No. Again, like I said, the problem here is the under eating, or really just incorrect food choices, really is what it is.
How I was at the start. I mean, I was never big, but I just hated how I looked. So I was always trying to get thinner and thinner and thinner. So yeah, I was massively under eating, which meant that I was bloating all the time. I felt tired all the time. I felt weak. I couldn't perform. I think in the back of my mind, like I knew, because I would go out for cycles with people and just couldn't keep up, whereas before I'd be able to. I just knew, but I couldn't not be thin, if that makes sense. Like I was willing to sacrifice performance over how I looked. The only thing I am happy about when I was at university was because I wanted to prioritize like the grade that I got so much. If it came to exams, I would revise. I was always bouncing between extremes, so I went to an extreme of revision, which paid off in the end. I got the grades that I wanted and that I'd worked hard for. But yeah, I turned to food and overate. So for like, rather than training all the time and always being conscious about food, this time during my exams for 7 weeks straight, like I didn't train at all. I guess like when I was overeating when I was doing my exams, that was kind of my only stress coping mechanism. Much like
all right, sorry, I'm just gonna move my overlay because like she's putting all of her pictures there, so. All right, fuck.
like every other time I had binges, except this was like a continuous overfeeding every single day. I just needed an escape route. I needed some form, a way to escape, and I always used food as my way to escape. It was kind of like a drug. Like when I was eating those foods, I just felt, it was like euphoric almost. Like as soon as I started having like a binge and I would eat about 3,000 calories in one sitting, I felt like there was nothing else around me. I felt like my eyes had glazed over. I felt like the sound had just kind of muffled out of my ears, and it was just me and the food, and I just, for a very brief moment, felt kind of happy. And it was just complete escapism. I couldn't really explain it other than the fact that I just felt like I wasn't there. Like I didn't have to deal with whatever like stress, anxiety, social issues that I had at the time. I didn't know how to deal with it or speak to someone about it. And so yeah, I just turned to food. I never did anything in moderation. I never felt like I could find a good balance where I was like just comfortable with food. Like every time I ate food, I felt like either there just wasn't enough, or that I'd completely overdone it. I felt sick. My stomach was like so stretched out to the point where I remember saying this to Mario, I couldn't even lie on my back because I was just so full that I felt sick. Yeah, when I was doing my exams, I weighed 65 kilos, which is the heaviest I've ever weighed, and it wasn't muscle. Just because for such a long period before, I'd always been under eating. So as soon as I started massively overeating, my body just stored all of that as fat. Intuitively, that's what my body would do, right? If I've been under eating for such a long time, your intuition is to overeat so that you can make up for the calories that I've been like restricting myself from. So it's not that I wasn't intuitive eating, it's just that I was trying to control something, my body was telling me something else, and I was just never like listening to it. So yeah, I found it really hard to get out of that cycle until I started to increase my daily calories so that I was like balancing it out. So rather than like massively under eating now, I was coming back up in calories every single day, and that meant that I needed fewer binges because I felt properly fueled and I felt like I didn't need any more calories because I was making sure that I had enough calories throughout the day. That was kind of me during my undergraduate degree. Then I did my Ironman. Like 6 weeks before, my friend was like, look, you need to eat.
Okay, so again, it comes down to improper food choice, incorrect food choice, the wrong food choice, not eating the right things, right? So like what she said about going to bed and like her stomach hurting because it's so full, like that happens to me like 3 times a week. Like that's not bad, okay? And I'm not like some like fat girl or something. When you eat, and this is my opinion, like, but I think when you eat, it should look like a binge, okay? It should look like that. And the reason is because if you're training very hard, which you should be, but like who is really, but like you should be training very hard, you are going to need a lot of food to like replenish yourself, right? And if you are training very hard on an empty stomach, which I also think you should be doing, your body is going to be like revved up like so high, like your metabolism is going to be fucking going crazy. Like you're going to be burning like every like last drop of reserves that you have, which is how you stay lean. Hello, like lean and muscular, not like a fucking skeleton. You're going to need to eat a lot at the end of the day. Now, if eating a lot at the end of the day is like, what did she have on her plate? Like croissants and like pancakes? Like what, under what circumstances do you think that's somehow a good choice to eat? Like, what are you, and you know, what's kind of interesting is that she said that she was doing all these athletic activities, which is what I normally recommend as like the solution to like improper food choice. Because when you do have to perform, you know, in a sport or something, I would think that you need to, that you would normally choose to eat foods that are higher quality, more nutrient dense so that you can perform better. I guess that never occurred to her, or these sports were just like a means to an end to get her looking more like a skeleton. But again, like I said, it just comes down to like choosing to eat the wrong foods, okay? When I first started doing the warrior diet back in the day, which for those of you who don't know is basically OMAD, right? You don't eat all day, or essentially he even describes it as under eating during the day and overeating at night. Those are the exact words that he uses. The point is that when you under eat during the day, your body like releases all of these hormones that like are beneficial to like fat burning and muscle building, and like just like does all this like good shit to your body. And then at night, after you've like done all of your work for the day and it's pretty close to the time you go to bed, you eat your massive meal, you get your insulin spike, you relax a little bit, watch TV, like whatever, right? But I remember, like, this is honestly why I bought the book back in the day, is because I read the back cover and there were like testimonials from people, and it was some woman, she was like, you know, I struggled with my weight forever, but when I heard about this diet that said you could eat whatever you want and still lose weight, I knew I had to try it. I lost 40 pounds in a month, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I read that and I was like, oh, really? You can eat whatever you want on this diet and lose weight? And then like I opened the book, started reading, and I realized pretty quick that it was basically you eat one meal a day. That had never occurred to me at the time, but I was like, okay, I'll try this. And I bought the book, and you know, thank God, oh my God, like I can't even imagine how my life would have turned out if I hadn't read that book. But it's, you eat one meal and you binge like it's your fucking job, okay? However, the guy says in the book to eat specific foods in a certain order. Eat your vegetables first, right? Essentially, I don't want to say fill up on vegetables, but like eat a lot of like raw vegetables to kind of get your stomach used to digesting food after not eating anything all day. And then eat protein, because you need protein if you're working out, like obviously. And then if you're still hungry, you can eat carbs, right? The problem with these people, from what it seems to me, is they just go straight to the carbs. They're like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Let me go get some fucking like waffles and, you know, drown them in syrup and like wash it down with like a milkshake for breakfast. So like once you open the floodgates in the morning, you're fucking binging like all day. Like it's just not, I don't know, it's just from like bad priorities, really.
Carbs, otherwise you're going to not finish your Ironman. Also, I think you have an eating disorder. That was the first time that someone had ever called it out, because I think I'd looked on the NHS website before and I was like, oh, that is kind of exactly how I feel about food, but I never admitted it to myself. I never was like, oh yeah, that is me, probably. I never let myself be categorized as that. Then she said it, and I really, really value this friend, and she said, like, I think you need to get help, but in the meantime, like, you need to start eating properly, otherwise you're not going to finish your Ironman. So I did, very uncomfortably started eating carbs, finished my Ironman, and then I got into a place at UCL to do biophysics, went straight into biophysics, and if you told me this when I was in high school, I would have laughed, because those kind of prospects were they were never advertised to us when we were younger. When we were younger, I went to school in a council estate. A lot of my friends never even went to university, so the fact that I was going on to study like post-grad, I'd have been like, that's never going to happen. And I was super happy about it. Yeah, I was just really happy about it because I was working amongst some of the most amazing scientists, one of the best biophysics labs in the world, amazing equipment, amazing people, and yeah, it was just kind of like a dream come true. So, and it looked really good on my CV, which was, I kind of cared about that more. I was like, well, if I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to have a better reputation, blah, 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 blah. So I started working really hard, got into like 9 months in, and then I just had this big epiphany that this was all wrong. I was going about life the complete wrong way. I was 21, I was doing a PhD, I should be really grateful, but instead I was like, actually, I'm so unhappy. And I think that was the point where I was ready to talk about it and talk about how I felt. At that time, I was very much, I very much suffered from orthorexia. So kind of same thing as before, except that now I was narrowing like what I classified as like good food even more and more and more. Like I was saying like, oh, I can only eat unrefined things, and I can only eat like things in their most natural state with very few ingredients that are all superfoods. And it just kept narrowing until I was just eating like basically nothing. It's very hard when I was in that mindset to kind of admit that I had like an obsession with controlling how clean my food was. That was the point where I was just ready to kind of talk about it and ready to have an open mind, and if anything just ready to like seek professional help, because before that I was just very like, no, I'm fine, I don't need any help. But I did need help, and that really challenged me, that really opened my mind. I think also,
oh my god, like nothing against her, like she like, but this is so stupid. Oh my god, what the actual like fuck, like orthorexia as I understand it, like not like basically feeling bad or like thinking about not eating healthy foods, like, oh no, I can't eat that fucking like bagel and cream cheese because it's not healthy. I have a disease. I need treatment. Oh my god, this is like the peak of like human stupidity. Like you young girls or girls who like watch this, you think that this is a problem. Sweetie pie, if you are fucking fat, like that's not a problem. Like you need that disease. That is a good thing for you. In her case, like, you know, it was the opposite problem. She was underweight and she wasn't eating the right thing. But like, what did she say just now? Like, I could only eat like natural foods. I was limiting myself to natural foods. It had to be like a clean food. Yeah, of course. Like I do that too. Does that mean I have orthorexia? Like, do you want me to like, if that's orthorexia, fucking sign me up. Like, good. I'm glad I have that. Like, honestly, at this point, I'm so limited in what I eat that I could be like the orthorexia like poster boy, you know? Like basically, like if I have my choice, like okay, fine, I move around a lot. I don't always have access to like a grocery store or like the right kinds of food. I kind of have to make do. But if I could like wave my magic wand and eat whatever I wanted anytime I wanted, I would eat fucking raw meat, raw eggs, raw dairy, and like maybe some like oatmeal and eggs, and probably make some shakshuka here and there, which is all natural foods. There's not a chemical in there, like not a single one, like nothing. Does that mean I have a fucking eating disorder and like need therapy? No. Like what the actual fuck? Like really? No. That's health. That is how it should be. That is like what you should be doing. Like how is that, like what planet am I on that this is how people actually think? Again, like I said, her problem is not that she was choosing to eat healthy foods. It's that she wasn't eating the right kinds of healthy foods that had enough nutrients to supply her body with what she needed when she was making apparently very large demands, training for an Ironman and a triathlon. That's like you need, like I run fucking like a couple miles and like I eat like a fucking pig because I need it at the end of the day. Also, I'm like, you know, probably weigh, you know, 1.5 times what she weighs, but still, oh God.
Being at UCL gave me a very good critical eye. By that I mean that I'd seen a lot of very good science. I'd also seen a lot of very bad science that still got published. And so it really helped me to sift through the bullshit. You can have published papers, but you can usually tell big flaws in papers. I was aware of funding as well, whereas previous to that I wasn't. So if I saw superfoods or whatever, I was like, you know what, actually I want to start researching this, see what I come up with. Very often that research was funded by the company. The research was kind of flawed, and so it started to make me realise that all these claims I'd started believing for marketing weren't actually grounded in scientific knowledge or scientific research. And actually today I still haven't found like a one way or a one diet or one trick that helps you lose fat or that helps you gain lots of muscle. There's just not one thing. It's usually just a product of lifestyle, and we see that over and over again, and that is what the leading scientists at this time in nutrition still believe. It took me like 1.5 years to kind of really retrain how I looked at life, how I looked at food, how I looked at myself, and yeah, start from scratch. And now I guess I'm right back where I was when I was a kid, which is happy. I've moved away from tracking my calories.
That's a good picture. This is what a woman should look like. Like, oh my god, fucking ooh la la. I like, look at the legs, nice muscular legs. You can see her abs. I don't know. I would like a little bit more definition in the arms, but they look. You can't really tell, I guess, from this picture. But this is like, young ladies of America, this is what you should look like. And fucking spoiler alert, you need to eat like actual like meat and shit to look like that. Stop eating your fucking vegan hamburgers and like French fries because it's vegan. What does it say? Now I train. Oh my god, fuck. Now I just train to perform. I lift weights, I train when I can, and eat intuitively. I don't feel I need cheat days anymore and choose to eat 80% nutrition. Oh my god, finally. Like, I take back everything bad I ever said about this person. This right here. Oh fucking god. Like this is it. This is the magic right here. Natacha, whatever. What is that? Natacha Oceane. Oh, thank you.
Calories now, so I really just eat intuitively. I train intuitively, so if I'm ill, I'm not going to train. I feel like I do things very intuitively now based on how I feel, and based on what I think is probably best for my body, which kind of leads me to where I kind of am now. I view food, and I talk about this in like other videos, I view food as food. For me, there's no like good, there's no bad. What I want to say in terms of like how I am now is that although on YouTube, like I show you guys my workouts and stuff like that, if you guys see hard sessions, I'm only having like max 4 a week, because usually I don't even get to train that often because I'm busy behind the scenes. But yeah, I train because it makes me feel happy, but I don't let it control my life anymore. I really don't have any rules surrounding food or training or anything, and I have lots of other interests. I love textiles, I love business. I started a business with Mario, and we're hoping to launch the products in like December time. So the reason I don't do daily vlogs is because a lot of it is like phone calls, emails, all of which is confidential, which means it's really hard for me to kind of explain or share anything with you about that. But I am working in the background on that every single day. Then I also have some more products that you guys are going to see, which I'm super excited about. I'm thinking of doing a home guide, so that's going to take a little bit of time to make. If you guys want that, please let me know. I think this is like the first time I've actually announced that I would, although a few of you guys have asked me in the comment section and I've replied saying yes, I think I'm probably going to do this. So if you guys want a home workout guide, let me know. So yeah, a few more products that we'll be releasing around like July time. That was kind of all I wanted to talk about, was that there's a lot of stuff that I can't share with you behind the scenes to do with like the business that me and Mario are running. I guess another thing with YouTube is that I make videos predominantly to make you guys feel happy with like a scientific message throughout, and I don't want to kind of overload you guys with scientific information because I know that doesn't always help. I get to work with amazing people like the nutrition expert that I've brought in before, Rini McGregor. She's just creme de la creme. I get to work with sports scientists, master trainers, and I guess because of the nature of the style of videos that I make, it's very easy to kind of assume that I always train, or that I'm always worried about what I'm eating, or very conscious about what I'm eating. The opposite is true. It's just that I know that those are the videos that would have really helped me growing up. I hope this video kind of explained kind of where I was, my thinking at the time. Even though I didn't classify as being like underweight enough to go to hospital for it, mentally my whole like thought processes were very much characteristic of the eating disorders that I suffered from. If you do feel very much the same way as I used to, please seek help, even if that's just like a friend or something.
Okay, great. Finally, I guess all the build up was just basically like talking about where she came from, and like, so I guess, you know, I can also talk about how I had like fucked up priorities back in the day and make a video about that, and somebody could analyze that and be like, that's wrong and stupid. Fine. I didn't see like, I guess, where she was going with it. I just like got worked up because that's something that I like, every time I hear that, it just makes my blood boil, right? But bottom line, like, what did she say? She trains, she eats for performance or something, or she trains to perform, or she eats so she can train hard, something like that. Whatever. Anyway, whatever that said is brilliant. Seems like she's on the ball now, and she actually like does things right and properly, which is good. But like, what did she say? Like, if you're a young girl, like, please seek help. No, don't seek any help. Like, do yourself a favor. Don't fucking like get any deeper into this eating disorder, like fucking bullshit world. Please do not. What you need to do these things, okay? Just stop thinking. Let me think for you, okay? Go to your supermarket, right? If you're like a teenage girl, like you don't have any money, I don't know, go with your mom or something. Go to your supermarket, buy some meat, buy some eggs, go to a gym, join the gym, go to the gym 5-ish times a week, do like weights, like lift weights for all of your body, and then come home and eat the meat raw and the eggs raw. Done. I just solved your fucking eating disorder. Okay, thank me later. Send me a check if you want. Period. Whew. That said, what did she say? She only trains like 4 times a week. That's fine. You know, if you are training extremely hard, then it's, I don't want to say it's impossible to train every day, but like if you're like doing like gut busting sessions, like it's tough to train every day. Like for example, now lately what I'll do is I'll do a 3.5 mile run to a gym, and then I'll train at the gym for an hour, and then I'll do a 3.5 mile run back, right? So like that's, especially when it's like set up like that, it's extremely hard in the fucking like Thailand heat. That's tough. And it takes me like just the running on its own, because I'm like running on the street, it's not like a track, so like to run there it's like almost an hour each way, so it's like almost 2 hours of running plus an hour workout. It's like 3 hours of like actually working out in the heat is not easy. So like I can't do that every day. I mean, I guess I could try maybe, but I'll do like every other day. I feel totally fine about that. Yeah, let's finish this, please.
It was really helpful for me to get professional help. So eventually, like, that can be a really helpful way out, because they really can really help to challenge your mindset. So yeah, that's something that I do recommend. People around you love you and they want the best for you, and I want the best for you too. So if you think that you are suffering from something like this, it is definitely worth opening up, not feeling embarrassed about it. There's nothing to feel embarrassed about. I know you can feel really lonely and like you're the only one going through it, but there are people out there, there are good people out there that are there to help you and just get you back on your feet and feeling good again. I feel like a completely different person, which is kind of why I never really talk about it that much, because for me I feel so far removed from those feelings, and I wish that for everyone, because especially for me, like as soon as I started letting go of all that negative thought behind like me, as soon as I started to back myself and not let myself get distracted and completely obsessed with food and calories and training and everything, that's when I started to be able to actually achieve what I wanted to achieve. Thank you guys for hearing me out. I know this is not a typical video that I do.
Amazing. I love it. Okay, so like great. Like I like this person. I get fucking gross. She's got good advice. I guess you can tell she's made it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like you have, like once you, I guess, understand the value, like what I consider the proper values of fitness, right? You need to train hard, you need to eat the right food, and you need to like not eat shitty food, I guess is basically it. Once you like get to that level, you start to look like this. Like you can tell people in the fitness world who have made it and who know their shit, right? Like once you get to that level, you don't even really think about it anymore. It just becomes like part of your life, right? Which in my opinion, this is why I think fitness is like a joke, and like I don't want to be a fitness professional. I just do it because it's native to me at this point, right? All these people who like want to make a name for themselves and want to like do it, you can tell they're like, not that they're dumbing it down, but they kind of are, which is a mistake. But anyway, it's a topic for another time. This girl has made it, like props, good job. This is, I guess, good advice, really? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I think just eat, like, I don't know, maybe I'm oversimplifying. Anyway, good for her. This video, oh, I know what I was going to say. So like if we want to compare, like I'm just thinking in my mind, I'm comparing her to Diana Malloy, right? That video that I did about her. And this girl, 1,000 times better than Diana Malloy, right? This girl has the right workouts. What it really comes down to is the right mentality of, I am eating as a result of the training sessions that I'm doing, right? Eating with purpose, I think Snake Diet Guy has said, right? Whereas Diana Malloy, for example, I'm using her as an example, she's just eating for no purpose, just because she thinks that the foods that she's eating are somehow gonna like not make her fat, right? You see it like anytime I meet a girl and they'll say like they're vegan or vegetarian, like my first instinct is to like look at them and be like, okay, are they really, is this really for the animals, or is this just because they're trying to lose weight, right? I would say 9 times out of 10 it's because they want to lose weight, right? Sorry all you like vegan girls out there who like pretend to love animals, but like when I meet you in person and even see you on the internet, like let's get real, like you're doing it to lose weight. Like you don't give a fuck about the animals, you know? Like Freely the Banana Girl, for example, I think is not that way, right? She's been a vegan for like, I don't know, since she's like 17 or 19 or something, and like has obviously been skinny her whole life, so you know, and she's just, I guess, insane. Seems normal actually, but just what I've heard about her seems insane. Like Vegan Gains also, it doesn't seem like he's not doing it to like get skinny. He's also not a girl. But like you see a lot of this where girls will like either like take up an activity. Well, I guess the activity is like slightly more respectable because at least it requires work. But you're a vegan, you're a vegetarian, not because you care about animals, just because you're trying to lose the weight, which is not, I'm not saying those diets can't be done properly and you're still able to like train at a high level. I guess you can. Some people seem to be able to do it. But that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because you fucking think you're fat and you're too lazy to go to the gym. Okay, so anyway, bottom line, Natacha Oceane, good for you, good job. You get my official stamp of approval. It's not stupid if it works. Like, anyway, it's the wrong video to do first thing in the morning. You guys have any other suggestions for videos or YouTubers? Let me know. Peace.